Kamala Bhajamana Shri Guru Guru Kripa Vinayagi Nahi Koi Sadambal Bhajamana Bhajandu Kyana Guru Kripa Vinayaki Nahi Koi Sadambal Bhajamana Bhajandu Kyana Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajamana Shri Guru Charana Kamala Militanahi Yasa Durlabha Janama Brahmatahu Chaudaha Bhuvana Militakati Yasa Durlabha Janama Brahmatahu Kisi ko mite hai आहो भाग्य से हरि भक्तों के दर्शन किसी को मिलते हैं आहो भाग्य से हरि भक्तों श्री गुरु चरण कमल भजमाना Krishna Kripa ki Ananda Murti Dina Jana Karuna Didana Krishna Kripa ki Ananda Murti Nidavana Bhakti Bhava Pre Tina Prakashata Bhakti Bhava Pre Tina Prakashata Shri Guru Patita Pavana Shri Guru Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajamana Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajamana Shruti Smriti Aur Puramamahi Shruti Smriti Aur Puramamahi Kino Spashta Pramana Kino Tanamana Jivana Guru Padyarpana Tanamana Jivana Guru Padyarpana Shri Harinama Ratana Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajamana Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajamana Jayo Guru Deva Jayo Guru Deva Guru Deva Jayo Guru Deva Guru De Guru De Guru জয় জয় প্রভুপা 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 জয় জয় প্রভুপা ओ हे वैष्णव ठाकुर दयार सागर এদাসে করুণা করি দিয়া পাদা ছায়া শোধ তোমার চরণ ধরি ওহে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর এদাসে করুণা করি ওহে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়া দিয়া পাদা ছায়া শুধু হে আমারে তোমার চরণ ধরি আমার তোমার চরণ ধরি চবরাগে গোদমি চারা দশা সদি চয়া গুণা দেহ দাসে চয়া সৎসঙ্গ দেহ গে আমারে বসেছি সঙ্গের আসে আমি বসেছি সঙ্গের আসে একাকি আমার নাকি পায়া বলো করি নাম সংকীর্তনে একাকি আমার কাকি নাম বলো করি নাম সংকীর্তনে তুমি কৃপা করি শ্রাদ্ধ বিন্দু দিয়া দেখো কৃষ্ণ নামদানি ধরিতে পাব আমার দেহ কৃষ্ণ ধাম গানে কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার কৃষ্ণ দিতে পারো তোমার আশা কাতি আছে আমি তো কাঙ্গালা কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি গাইতাব পাছে পাছে আমি আমি গাইতাব পাছে পাছে ওহে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর এ দাসে করুণা করি আমার দাসে করুণা করি জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর प्रभु हे प्रभु हे प्रभु हे जय जय प्रभु हे Your mercy. To translate, yeah? Yes, yes. Can you meet on Sundays after the program? 60. Akroda Paramanando Nityanando Rai Akroda Paramanando Nityanando Rai Abhimana Shunyanitai Nagare Vedai Adama patita jiver dvare dare giya Hari Nama Maha Mantra dice Nabilaya Jare deke tare hake Dante Trinadori Amare kiniyata ho Bolgora hari o Amare kiniyata ho Eto boli Nityananda Bhume Gadi Jaya Nito boli nityanando bhumedani jaya. Sonara parvata jelo dula telotaya. Sonara parvata jeno dula telotaya. Che no avatare jara rati janan bilo. Che no avatare jato rati janan bilo. Lochane bole papi elo aragelo. Lochan pore sei papi eno jaragelo. Jayo Nityanandaram, Jayo Nityanandaram, Nityanandaram, Jayo Nityanandaram. Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Praying? Oh, no, honestly, I have not experienced the awakening for attachment for such an avatar, so my life simply comes and goes. I'm simply coming and going. End the cycle of birth and death.
'74. Gorangero duti pado jaradhano sampado Gorangero duti pado Gorangero dutipado Giardano Sampado Gorangero dutipado Sirjani Pakati Rasasan Gorangero Madhurlila Jarakarne Praveshila Gorangero Hridoyo Niramalo Belota Hridoyo Nimalo Belota Hridoyo Jegorange namaloi tarhoi premodoi Jegorange namaloi নিজা বলিহারি ও তারে গৌরাঙ্গ গুণেতে জুড়ে নিত্য লীলা তারে স্ফুরে গৌরাঙ্গ গুণেতে সে জয় ফকতি অধিকারী সে জয় গৌরাঙ্গের সঙ্গী গানে নিত্য সীতা করি মানে গৌরাঙ্গের সঙ্গী গানে সে যাই ব্রজেন্দ্র ও সুতপাস সে যায় ব্রজেন্দ্র সুতপাস সে যায় ব্রজেন্দ্র সুতপাস সে যায় ব্রজেন্দ্র সুতপাস সে জয় ব্রজেন্দ্র সুতপাস সে জয় ব্রজেন্দ্র সুতপাস শ্রী গোদামণ্ডলা ভূমি যে বাজানে চিন্তামণি শ্রী গোদামণ্ডলী তারা হয় ব্রজ ভূমে বাস তারা হয় ব্রজ ভূমে বাস তারা হয় ব্রজ ভূমে বাস তারা হয় ব্রজ আমার গোর প্রেমার সর্ণবে সে তরঙ্গে যে বধুবে গোর প্রেমার সর্ণবে সে তরঙ্গে যে বধুবে শরদা মাধবান্তরাঙ্গ গৃহে বাবা নেকে তাকে হা গৌরাঙ্গ বলে ডাকে গৃহে বাবা নেকে তাকে হা গৌরাঙ্গ বলে ডাকে গৃহে বাবা নেকে তাকে নরতম মাগে সরসঙ্গ নাগে নরতম মাগে সরসঙ্গ আমার সঙ্গ চরণ করোনা ওখে নিতাই গৌর হরি সঙ্গ চরণ করোনা ওখে নিতাই গৌর হরি সঙ্গ চরণ করোনা নরতম মাগে সর সঙ্গ মাগে নরতম মাগে সহর সঙ্গ জয় গৌরানিতাই জয় গৌরানিতাই গৌরানিতাই জয় গৌরানিতাই Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Shri Nitai Gaur Sundar Ki Jai.
I have Amana Damaki on my heart, but it's a Saranagi song. It's okay.
Sure.
It's page 66. I do better just singing, focusing on this. Emana Dermati Samsara Bitare Podiachi Nuami Emana Dermati Samsara Bitare Podiachinuami Tavani Jajan Kono Mahajane Tavani Jajan Kono Mahajane Tavani Jajan Kono Mahajane Sono Mahajane Pataya dile to me Naya dile to Prabhu he emana dharmati samsara bitare Podiya chinuami emana dharmati samsara bitare Podiya chinuami Daya kori more Patita dekhiya koilo amara giya Daya kori more Patita dekhiya koilo amara giya Ohe dina jan suno balo kato 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 Ulasita habeiya Ulasita habeiya Prabhu he emana dharmate samsara bitare Podiya chinuami Emana dharmate samsara bitare Podiya chinuami Tomara tarite Sri Krishna Chaitanya Navadvipe Avatar Tomara tarite Sri Krishna Chaitanya नवद्वीपे अवतार क्षमा है नोखा थो दिन ही न जाने क्षमा है नौका तो दिन ही न जाने कोड़ीले न भाव फारा कोड़ीले न भाव फारा प्रभु है एमान धर्माची संसार भितरे पोदिया चिनुआमी एमान धर्माची संसार भितरे पोदिया चिनुआमी वदेर प्रतिज्ञान राखी बारे चारे रुक्म वर्ण विप्रसूता वेदेर प्रतिज्ञान राखी बारे चरे रुक्म वर्ण विप्रसूता महाप्रभु नामे नदिया माथाया महाप्रभु नामे नदिया माथाया महाप्रभु नामे नदिया माथाया महाप्रभु नामे नदिया माथाया संगे बाया वधूथा संगे प्रभु है एमान धर्माचे संसार भितरे पोदिया चिनुआमी एमान धर्माचे संसार भितरे पोदिया चिनुआमी नंद सुछाजिनी चैतन्य गोसाई निज नामे खोड़ी दाना मना सुछाजिनी चैतन्य गोसाई निज नामे खोड़ी दाना छारिलो जगत तुमियो जाइया छारिलो जगत तुमियो जाइया छारिलो जगत तुमियो जाइया लाहो निज परित्राण लाहो निज परित्राण प्रभु है एमान धर्माचे संसार भितरे पोदिया चिनुआमी एमान धर्माचे संसार भितरे पोदिया चिनुआमी सेखोता सुनिया आसिया चिना था तुम्हारा छाड़ा न थाले सिखाता सुनिया आसिया छीना था तुम्हारा छाड़ा ने थाले बकची विनोदा थलिया खादिया बकची विनोदा खादिया Bakati vinoda khadia Bakati vinoda khadia Apana kahini bole Apana kahini bole Apuhe emana dharmati Samsara birare Potiya chinuami Emana dharmati Samsara vichare Potiya chinuami Jaya Sachidanand Jaya Gaura Hari Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai. Haribol. Yes, yes. O Lord, I am so unfortunate to have fallen into this material world, but you have sent an exalted soul, one of your own associates, to save me. Being compassionate upon seeing me in such a fallen condition, he said, O humbled soul, listen to this good advice by which your heart will become joyful. To deliver you, Sri Krishna Chaitanya has descended to the land of Navadvip. He has conducted so many poor and lowly souls like you across the ocean of material existence. In order to fulfill the promise of the Vedas, he has appeared with a golden complexion as the son of Brahmana known by the name Mahaprabhu. He and his brother, the Avadut Nityananda, have caused all of Nadia to become maddened in divine ecstasy. Sri Chaitanya, who is directly the son of Nanda, has saved the world by distributing his own holy name. You go also and receive your deliverance. O Lord, hearing these words, Bhaktivinoda has come to your lotus feet. Weeping, he tells the story of his life. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. I don't know why it speaks to me so heavy, but yeah, this is the one. If I had to pick one, that's the one.
Since we're getting close to 10:30, should we just do Radha Darshan together? Page 50. Yeah, 58.
58?
Sorry, 158.
I was about to say, like, me talking about the kids.
Wait, you do it, and then tell me what we do. Do you mind pass me the mic stand, though? Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivara Dari Jaya Girivara Dari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivara Dari Jaya Girivara Dari Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Chaksuranmilitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tudalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadavaktaya Namo Namah. Yang Pravajantam Manupetamapetakrityam Dvaipayano Virahaka Taruajuhava Putre Ditanmayataya Taravo Banedus Tang Sarvabhutaridayam Muni Manatosmi Bhakti Nitya Vinay Apurada Lakshay Chiptasya Kamadi Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapadyam Brinde Aste Charanaravinda Tavoivasmi Tavoivasmi Najivami Tambina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tanmayamam Janananti Kripayati Yadi Radha Padita Sheshabada Kimapara Pushti Maryadayor Yadi Vadati Chakinshit Shama Sundara Shikanda Shekhar Smeraha Samurali Manohara Radhika Rasikamam Kripanidhe Swapriya Charana Kinkari. Can you make this louder? Prananatha Vrishabhanu Nandini Srimukhabjara Salola Satapada Radhika Paratale Kritastiti Tambajami Rasikendra Shekhar Sambadaya Dashine Trinam Bibo Pardaye Brajamahendra Nandan Astu Lohan Davati Ballabha Janma Janmani Mari Swari Priya. If Sri Radha is merciful to me, then unlimited obstacles to my devotion will be removed. There'll be nothing superior for me to obtain, because I will have received the excellence offered by the paths of both Vaidhi and Rag. And if she speaks something while smiling gently, thereby revealing the brilliance of the rows of her beautiful pearl-like teeth, what significance would the oyster of liberation have? Do you get that? Because the oyster makes a pearl, but it's nothing compared to seeing her smiling, because it's liberation. O Shamasundar, O you whose head is adorned with peacock feathers, whose face is graced with a laughing smile, whose murli flute enchants the mind, and who are most expert in relishing ras with Srimati Radhika. O ocean of mercy, please make me a maidservant at the feet of your beloved. You are the Lord of the life of the daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj, and you are just like a bee, always eager to taste the nectar of her lotus-like face. O Rasikendra Shekhar, foremost of those who are Rasik, who are seated at the feet of Srimati Radhika, I worship you. O son of the king of Braj, O all-pervading one, O Mohan, who enchants the minds of all. Taking a piece of straw between my teeth, I pray that you're supremely, that's wrong. It's not between my teeth, it's in my teeth. I pray that your supremely beloved Sri Radha be my dear worshipful goddess, birth after birth. Does somebody know how to make this louder? Louder and clearer. First I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Satchi Shrimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Satchi Shrimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and Shri Srimad Bhakti Vigyan Padati Goswami Maharaj, to our grandfather gurus, Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj, and Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, to all of his divine associates, and to all the assembled devotees, and the assembled devotees, Diksha Gurus, who are my Shiksha Guru, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Madhav Maharaj, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Ban Maharaj, and Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Siddhanti Maharaj. So today's program will be a continuation of first canto, 9th chapter, the passing away of Bhishma Dev, and then glorifying Srila Gaura Govinda Goswami Maharaj. Did you find, or did I find a video?
He said he knows about the video.
Okay. And then glorification of Shri Srimad Bhakti Bhudev Shroti Maharaj. So here we are. Where are we? In the place of the massacre, where Bhishma Dev is lying on a bed of arrows, with more arrows coming down on his chest. And who's speaking? Sutta Goswami is speaking to Shaunika Rishi and the 88,000 sages. So after Bhishma Dev explains the cause of the suffering of the Pandavas, despite the fact of their nobility and that they were protected by Krishna himself, which was nothing but what? Due to inconceivable, irrefutable time and providence, and also to educate us on how to act in certain circumstances. Then Maharaj Yudhisthira is now inquiring, because he didn't want to be the king, even though he was the rightful king, and it was just to return him to being the rightful king that Krishna created the scenes of Mahabharata and the battle. So Bhishma told him, you have to do it, it's your duty. So now Yudhisthira is asking how to do this duty. And at Maharaj Yudhisthira's inquiry, Bhishma first defined all the classifications of castes and orders in terms of the individual's qualification. Then he systematically, in twofold divisions, described counteraction by detachment and interaction by attachment. The next verse does not explain what that means. It just says, he then explained. So let's see if Srila Prabhupada explains counteraction by detachment and indirection by attachment. conception of forecasts and orders of life as planned by the Lord Himself is to accelerate transcendental qualities of the individual person. So the reason to get into it is to get out of it. And by performing one's duty according to one's qualification rightly, then he can get out of it. Is to accelerate transcendental qualities of the individual person so that he can gradually realize his spiritual identity and thus act accordingly to get free from material bondage or conditioned life. In almost all the Puranas, the subject matter is described in the same spirit. So also in the Mahabharata, it is more elaborately described by Bhishmadev in the Shanti Parva as a part of the Mahabharata, beginning from the 60th chapter. Still doesn't tell anything. Except in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is explaining what is the duties, like the Kshatriya especially, is a member of the administrative caste. He's advised to give in charity and not to accept charity. Who accepts charity? The Brahmins accept charity and they give charity. Modern administration, and it's so ridiculous today, raise subscription for some political functions, but never give charity to the citizens in any state function. It's just the reverse in the injunctions of the Shastras. The administrative class must be well versed in the Shastras and must not take to the profession of teachers. The administrators should never pretend to become nonviolent and thereby go to hell. But they have to know who to be violent towards and who to not to be violent towards. Violent towards the aggressor, violent towards the opposing party who's attacking, ill-minded usurpers of the kingdom, and then misusing that kingdom, rather than the innocent citizens. When Arjuna wanted to become a non-violent coward on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was severely chastised. So everyone does his duty in Divya Varnashram Dharma. That means not by birth, but by quality. The Lord degraded Arjuna at that time to the status of an uncivilized man for his avowed acceptance of the cult of nonviolence. The administrative class must be personally trained in military education, not send untrained teenagers to die in war, like millions a year. Cowards should not be elevated to the presidential throne by dint of numerical votes, or not only numerical votes, but pretending that they've gotten the numerical votes. So in this purport, Prabhupada's speaking about all the castes. So let's see what this could mean. Counteraction by detachment. Can anybody guess?
Can you read the full verse?
Sure. I'm just trying to see what's in the word for word. I don't see any. Detachment, vairagya. Okay. And raga means attachment. So Raga Manjari is the embodiment of Radharani's attachment for Krishna in the form of a manjari. Upadibhyan, out of such designations. At Maharaj Yudhishthira's inquiry, Bhishma Dev first defined all the classifications of castes and orders. What are the castes and what are the orders? Yes? Loud.
Hare Krishna. The castes are Shudra, Vaishya,
Doesn't seem
Kshatriya.
to be on.
Hare Krishna.
It's just when they're both turned up, they start speaking.
Oh, I see. I'll turn this off.
Okay, Hare Krishna. The four varnas are Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, and Brahmana.
And
And the four ashrams are Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas.
good. And what did Lord Chaitanya say he is? And what isn't he? What? Thank you.
Naham Vipro na cha narapatir napi vaishyo na sodro. Naham varni na cha grihapatir no vanisto jatirva. Kintu prodyan nikila paramananda purnamritabdir gopi bharta parakamalaur dasa dasa anudas.
Which means I'm not.
I am not a Brahmin. I am not Naham varni Naham Vipro na cha narapatir. I'm not a. Is it Brahmin? Is it ashram or
Naham
varni first?
Vipro Brahman.
I'm not a Brahmana. I am not a Kshatriya. I am not a Vaishya, nor am I a
Not a
Sudra.
Putti. I'm not the leaders of men.
Mm. And I'm not a Brahmachari. I'm not a householder. I am not a Vanaprast. And I am not a sannyasi. I am the servant of the servant of the servant of that eternally brilliant, full of bliss, Sri Krishna, who is maintained by the love of the gopis, especially Sri Radha.
Who is maintained by the love of them?
Yeah.
That's a basic translation. The translation Gurudev gives, which is a higher translation, Gopi Bhartur, you could say it's that he's the maintainer of the gopis. That he's maintained, he's more or less the servant. He's the servant of the gopis. That's who I want to be the servant of. Not the husband of Satyabhama and Rukmini, because she's the master. If Satyabhama is in Man and Krishna chastises her, get out of my palace, go back to your father's home, she'll immediately give up her Man. But if he says that to the gopis, go get out of this kunj, she'll say, what? This is our kunj. Did you ever provide any clothing for us? Any food for us? No, we maintain you. Get out of our kunj. And then Krishna has to submit. Whose master is the gopis. Good. So counteraction, I still don't know what that word means. From all this, can anybody give an educated guess?
Counteraction by detachment?
An interaction.
Indirection, is it?
Interaction by attachment. Well, you interact, if you're attached to something, then you interact. And if you're detached, I don't know what counteraction means. The full sentence is, Bhishma Dev first defined all the classifications of castes and orders of life in terms of the individual qualification. Then he systematically, in twofold visions, described counteraction by detachment and interaction by attachment. You know what I think? I think it's just going to gradually unfold in the chapter.
I don't have my phone, but there's a part in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna uses the word consummation, and I believe that that's the idea that's being expressed here about counteraction. And can I look it up on somebody's phone? And okay.
He then explained by divisions acts of charity, the pragmatic activities of a king, and activities for salvation. Then he described the duties of women and devotees, both briefly and extensively. Bhishma Dev learned a lot from his father, from Janu Maharaj, who's his what? Not father, but there's some relationship. Janu Maharaj is described in the Navadvip Parikrama. You're looking it up. As far as the women class is concerned, this is also Prabhupada's purport. They are accepted as a power of inspiration for men. As such, they are more powerful than men. Mighty Julius Caesar was controlled by a Cleopatra. Such powerful women are controlled by shyness. Therefore, shyness is important for women.
He would be his great-grandfather.
Sorry?
He would be his great-grandfather.
Who would be whose?
Janu Maharaj would be the great-grandfather of Bhishma, because Janu Maharaj is considered the...
Very good. Very good. So, Janu Maharaj is the father of the Ganges, you could say, because the Ganges was flowing by his ashram in such a way that it was breaking his ashram. It washed away his Achman cup, and he pretended to get angry. And so he swallowed the whole Ganges. Then how is she going to continue and follow Maharaj Bhagirath on his chariot? So he made a slit in his thigh, and the Ganges came out of his thigh. And so she became like the daughter of Janu. So her name became Jahnavi. Jahnavi. And then the Ganges' son is Hare Krishna Rodolfo. Thank you for coming. Come and see the flowers here at the altar.
These amazing orchids on the thing. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you so much. Wow, beautiful. Friend Paul from Massachusetts. Nice to have you. Wow, same like you, but there.
Yeah. No, he's have a big farm.
A big farm. Great, thank you for coming. Okay,
I see the temple.
beautiful, well come in, so then you can see everything. Yes, so then the Ganges is the mother of Bhishma, so he's his grandfather. So he instructed him in many ways, and so now he knows all these subjects. Then he described the occupational duties of different orders and statuses of life, citing instances from history, for he was himself well acquainted with the truth. when he was speaking so nicely, Draupadi was there, and like a perfect lady, she was very shy. So she didn't just burst out laughing and saying, "What a hypocrite you are." Rather, she covered her mouth and just smiled. And then he said to her, "Why are you smiling?" So she said, "You're speaking really big words now about what is proper conduct. But where were you, Bhishma, when I was attempted to be derobed by the assembly of rude and crude men, a Satsambhaya?" He said, "Well, I had been eating at the house of Duryodhana, so I got his bad qualities from eating his food." What does that tell us? Be careful whose food you're eating. But now all my blood is drained out, so I got smart. So now I'm able to speak good philosophy. Well, Bhishma Dev was describing occupational duties. The sun's course ran into the northern hemisphere. This period is desired by mystics who die at their will. Paul, this is a chapter describing a great, he's a military man, but at the same time he's a great devotee and a yogi. So he got the benediction that he could die at his will. And also to be transcendental. That's how devotees are. They're transcendental to the ups and downs of this world. But whereas we're so attached, like that. So he was lying on a bed of arrows and he didn't even feel it. And he was speaking beautiful philosophy at the same time. So now the sun's course ran into the northern hemisphere. This period is desired by mystics who die at their will. They want to die at this time. That means they get a good destination. Thereupon, that man who spoke on different subjects with thousands of meanings and who fought on thousands of battlefields and protected thousands of men stopped speaking and, being completely freed from all bondage, withdrew his mind from everything else and fixed his wide open eyes upon the original personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who stood before him. Four-handed, dressed in yellow garments that glittered and shined. Now, in the purport, Prabhupada is going to be talking about the time of death. In the momentous hour of leaving his material body, Bhishma Dev set the glorious example concerning the important function of the human form of life. The subject matter which attracts the dying man becomes the beginning of his next life. In other words, as Krishna says in the Gita, Krishna is recognized by all great saints and sages as the personality of Godhead. So he's speaking in the book Bhagavad Gita, which is the essence of all Vedic scriptures. He says whatever one thinks about at the time of death, one attains that state without fail. So if one thinks of me, the goal of life, then he certainly attains that state. So as confirmed in the Gita, whoever at the time of death, and it's not that you can think about anything, just let the mind go, and then think, oh, at the time of death, I'll make sure to think of the highest subject, and then my next life will be pure spiritual life. It's not like that. Like how many of you have taken an airplane, but you didn't buy a ticket in advance, and so you're on standby. there's every likelihood you're not going to get on the plane. So ticket in advance means from early in life to think about Krishna, and then it's automatic. Otherwise, whatever material desires we have, we get flooded with them at the time of death. Whatever state of being one remembers, when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Therefore, Arjuna, always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. He who meditates on the Supreme Lord, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, he, undeviated from the path, is sure to reach me. When I was a younger devotee, I used to wonder, what percent Krishna conscious do you have to be to go back to Godhead? And then in consultation with my God brothers and sisters, we decided 70%. But no, it's a 100%. And that 100% has to be considerably before death because of the previous analogy. And how to meditate on him? One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, the oldest, the controller, smaller than the smallest, who's the maintainer of everything. How, Vasanti, how is he the smaller than the smallest? What's the smallest? Yeah. Yeah, he's in every atom. Also the soul is even small. You were going to say that?
Well, I was going to say, like, the smallest would be the Atma, and that he's within the Atma. So he's
Right.
smaller.
Right, he's sitting in the heart of our soul. He's sitting next to our soul in the body, but also, as he mentioned, in the heart of the soul. So he's the closest. Therefore, he knows, like Prabhupada said, everyone wants to know who knows the volume of my suffering, and who knows how nice I am. Everybody's looking for that, and that's Krishna, because he's in the heart. As a maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and always a person. He's luminous like the sun, and being transcendental, he's beyond material nature. So one who at the time of death fixes his life here and in full devotion engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord is certainly to attain him. And that's the thing. You don't always know if you may not be prepared. How many people are actually prepared for their death and who've just died suddenly, hit by a car, stabbed with a knife, heart attack? So therefore we want to start early so it becomes a habit. You have to go? Okay, well, thanks for being here. Look forward to see you again.
Thanks so much.
I hope you're taking some breakfast with you.
No, I tried from the down for stay more time. But I like coming here, giving my offer.
Thank you.
This lit up my
Thank you so much. Are there any cookies or anything? Are you getting? Oh, great. So, Bisman Dev said, by pure meditation, no, this is about Bhishma, and in the next verse, Bhishma again is speaking. By pure meditation, Looking at Lord Sri Krishna, he at once was freed from all material inauspiciousness and relieved of all bodily pains caused by the arrow wounds. Thus all the external activities of his senses at once stopped, and he prayed transcendently to the controller of all living beings while quitting his material body. And here's what he said: "Let me invest my thinking, feeling, and willing, which was so long engaged in different subjects and occupational duties, in the all-powerful Lord Sri Krishna. He's always self-satisfied, but sometimes, being the leader of the devotees, he enjoys transcendental pleasure by descending on the material world, although from him only the material world is created. He has nothing to do, nothing to obtain. He's fully self-satisfied." That means he's satisfied within, satisfied with himself, and also Atmaram, Atmakam. That was Atmaram. Atmakam means he has enough. He doesn't need another thing. So one is external, get it, and one is internal. I think we'll continue this tomorrow because we want to first, Dr. Om, did you find your answer? What is it?
Hare Krishna. It's in the Bhagavad Gita 4:24. I can open it there near you if you like. Or I can go. So I think also the shlokas before this also get into more of this idea of detachment through counteraction and attachment through interaction. So I believe that this part explains it, so I'll just read. So the translation of 424 Bhagavad Gita: a person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. Purport: how activities in Krishna consciousness can lead one ultimately to the spiritual goal is described here. There are various activities in Krishna consciousness, and all of them will be described in the following verses. But for the present, just the principle of Krishna consciousness is described. The conditioned soul, entangled in material contamination, is sure to act in the material atmosphere, and yet he has to get out of such an environment. The process by which the conditioned soul can get out of the material atmosphere in Krishna consciousness. For example, a patient who is suffering from a disorder of the bowels due to overindulgence in milk products is cured by another milk product, namely curds. The materially absorbed conditioned soul can be cured by Krishna consciousness as set forth in the Gita.
Can you summarize all that?
Somewhat.
Can you summarize all that to define counteraction and interaction?
The best way I can explain it is that your very nature itself, when dedicated and in full faith to Krishna, is the very means which you'll find freedom from material nature. So our conditioned nature is also set up with, one way I think of it is there's nothing worse than wasted talent. So these God-given talents that we are given, we use them in Krishna's service.
How is that counteraction? We're looking for the meaning of counteraction.
That's how I understand the counteract. You know, you normally just do them for your own your own selfishness, but because you dedicate those qualities to Krishna, then they free you from material contamination.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm going to call on Atul Krishna Prabhu, who's going to be sharing an atom of the glory of Sri Gaur Govinda Maharaj, and he's going to sit up here and share. Did you get the little video too?
Ita has the video.
Okay.
Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunditam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I'd first like to start by offering my obeisances to my Guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, Nityalila Om Vishnupad, Stotra Stotra Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and all the assembled devotees. And I'd like to share at least a part of an atom of the glories of Gaur Govinda Maharaj, who his disciples have directed me to some content of his glories. I first asked our beloved Radhakanta Prabhu if he could help me clear up some misunderstandings I had, because I've been hearing for years about Gaur Govinda Maharaj just from devotees of Narayan Maharaj and also his disciples. And then I went to go read on the internet, and there was some difference between what I was reading on the internet. So he directed me to Nibai Pandit Das, who has hours of glorification on YouTube on the various appearance days and disappearance days of Gaur Govinda Maharaj. So I made some notes just a little bit to get an idea of Gaur Govinda Maharaj. I wish I could remember exactly what you spoke on Sunday, so I don't repeat anything, but I'm sure I will. I'll go sequentially to a certain degree, but also the highlights. He was born into a Odia Vaishnava family in Orissa, meaning his family were devotees of Mahaprabhu and followers of, for many generations, in the line of Narottam Das Thakur, I believe, who had preached in Orissa. So his uncles and his mother were famous kirtan singers and devotees of Mahaprabhu and Krishna. From his early childhood, he was very detached from worldly things. He was a great scholar, but very interested in the scriptures, and including Chaitanya Charitamrita and also the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. He had a perfect life from the beginning. He had an arranged marriage that was perfectly arranged. He had 7 children and only engaged in enjoyment to create children 7 times, like our beloved Bhaktivinoda Thakur in that way. One story from his childhood, maybe, I don't know if you told this one, but his deity, his house was, he actually grew up in a small mud hut, and small house anyhow, but his deity was stolen. He had a small deity of Gopal Ju, who was the deity of his village and his family, and he had his own personal small one, which was stolen, and he was very attached to his deity, and in his dream, in his sleep, Gopal Ju called out to him and told him exactly where he was. Apparently the robbers had dropped him in a field, and the next morning he ran to that exact place and his deity was there, which proves his deep eternal connection to Gopal. Also, one thing to note, like grandfather Bhishma, he had the ability to give up his body at any time. We'll get to that in a minute. He was a school teacher, and in his school teaching, he taught devotional principles as well as general studies to his students. And he took sannyas, or he desired to take sannyas when his children were grown. And I believe he asked Gopal, and was confirmed in a dream. Could be wrong about that. Anyhow, it was determined that he would go and do that, and he traveled all through India to be sure that he found the perfect spiritual master. And eventually, he went from the Himalayas down to Mathura, to Vrindavan, and he met Srila Prabhupada A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, who, upon meeting him, spoke with him very briefly and immediately said, "Has anyone given you sannyas?" and to the astonishment of the whole assembly. So he took Harinam and Diksha immediately, and very shortly after, he took sannyas. And it's a fact because he spoke it actually to his secretary much later. There was envy amongst his god brothers towards him, and he said the envy actually began immediately upon my arrival. But he actually had no enmity or disturbance by anything, any of his god brothers or any person who had malice towards him when they came to see him with maybe perhaps impure intent. He would embrace them lovingly and honestly lovingly, because he only wanted the best of everybody. He not only was devoid of all envy and ill intent, but he also was very, very pious and very, very simple. He only ate something like 50 grams of dal, or 35 grams of dal and 65 grams of rice every day, which he determined that was all he needed. And every single penny that was collected was put towards building the temple in Orissa, Krishna Balaram Temple in Orissa, which was Srila Prabhupada's order to him. So he used every ounce of energy and every little penny that was donated to build that temple, which was inaugurated in around 1990 or 1992, roughly. So he was known to be a very strong, bold, lion-like roaring preacher. As soon as he got on the Vyasa-san, he spoke very strongly. But in his private dealings, he was actually very quiet, mostly only chanted japa. He actually chanted japa for most of the hours of the day. I don't know how much hours he needed to read scripture. From everything I've encountered, he knew the whole scripture in great detail. And also, he purported that Srila Prabhupada had put everything into his books and his purports, but Maharaj could take one purport that could be read in maybe 2 minutes and speak on it for hours. So he was able to extract all of knowledge from Srila Prabhupada's purports, but that doesn't necessarily mean that anyone could just grab Srila Prabhupada's book. This is my opinion. So without living guru, without Sakshat Hari, you cannot just take a book written by Srila Prabhupada and get everything out of it without the blessings of Krishna and Guru. And he had a very high standard for Guru. After Srila Prabhupada's apparent disappearance? Oh, I didn't hear that, although I didn't hear every video. The videos were hours and hours and hours, and there was no repetition from what I saw. And they were just unlimited stories of, brilliant stories. I guess I forgot what I was going to say, but I'll skip over to one really amazing story. So although he was very meek and mild and quiet and non-roaring generally when he interacted with people, very loving and affectionate, his standard of guru, he said that guru should be on the highest level, a Premi Bhakta, who must be liberated and established with his relation to Krishna and Tattva Siddhanta. He did not think that any guru should be able to fall, and any guru that has fallen was never guru in the first place. And his disciple told me that he felt that the idea that a guru could be Kanishta, Madhyam, something like that, not on the highest level, was the reason why there was some Apasiddhanta spoke in the institution of ISKCON was to confirm or to justify the falling of gurus. So for instance, if the jiva could fall from Vaikuntha, the highest place, then why would a guru not be able to fall? And still, everything they taught you before that, they were guru, and they could be reestablished after some penance, 4 or 5 years, like they do in ISKCON. Anyhow, so although on the internet that there's no, in general, biographies of established websites, there's no apparent fight between him and the institution in which he promised Srila Prabhupada he would never leave. In fact, there was some deviation of Gaudiya Siddhanta, which Maharaj, Gorgovinda Maharaj, did not tolerate. And there was, he generally speaking, he was very tolerant and loving, and that's why so many people, you know, even one hippie who just wanted to travel around India and drink chai and bong happened upon him, and bong meaning like edible marijuana, and he just happened upon Gorgovinda Maharaj, and someone said, "Oh, come meet him and hear his class," and within 5 minutes he was weeping at the end of the class, was begging for initiation, something he didn't even know existed before he encountered Maharaj. So that's the power of his love and affection. But for somebody who is not a hippie eating bong, who, like, for instance, one Gaudiya Odia Brahmachari, who was his follower, fell down with one lady, and he was very upset, and he found that, and he banished him, actually took him to the Ganga, removed his Tulsi Mala, his Kunti Mala, his Brahman thread, and his japa beads, and threw all that in the Ganga and said, "I reject you." And he said to his secretary, "He is rejected on this date at this time," and it was recorded. Yet another one of his followers said, was found to have housed him and put him up. And when Gorgovinda Maharaj found out, he said, "What is this?" And he said, "Oh, the other disciple said, oh, well, he collects so well, he speaks so well, he's such a good collector." And Maharaj started to roar after reading this, as actually it was a letter correspondence. After reading that, he started to roar, "Oh, you collect so good, give him a room." And it's just like yelling. And then so his Nimai Pandit, his transcriber secretary, was having to write it all down in capitals. Speaking of capitals, he never had a computer or any keyboard or anything. All of his translations into Hindi and Odia, which he did for years and years for Srila Prabhupada, he did all by pen and paper with no assistance from the internet or computer or anything. I don't know the number of books he translated, but I know it was many. And New Zealand. Well, he could be Australian, but his accent sounded New Zealand. But yeah, different Nimai. Also, his preaching, like the guru should be on the highest level. The preaching he established should be on the highest level. You're not this body. Everything in this life is suffering, etc. He clearly stated this is general spiritual knowledge. Any group, even Mayavad, will tell you this. But rather, preaching should be Tattva Siddhanta, Guru Tattva, Krishna Tattva, Radha Tattva, etc. And not this every week, every day. The speaker should just give this basic thing, which you could get anywhere from devotee or non-bhakti spiritual groups. He was always concerned about the welfare of all of his disciples, as if they should any suffering should be immediately removed, and that was the nature of his affection. It's funny, yeah. It's good to take notes because now I can't think of anything. Anyways, that is clearly just one speck of his glories. Srila Gurudev met with him, I don't know how many times, but there was some repetitive preaching where the preaching in the general institution was, "You're not this body, the world is suffering." This is something you can get from a Buddhist or Mayavad or any, Brahmavad. Anyone will tell you that. That's not Gaudiya Siddhanta. Gaudiya Siddhanta is Tattva Siddhanta. So we're not just, teaching people, pre-Kanishta things that could be taught anywhere, they could get from anybody. Even they could just realize on their own. But he wanted to give the highest tattvas. And he would speak on that, and his disciples would all speak on that. Srila Gurudev met with him, I don't know how many times, but one particular time, Srila Gurudev was in Bhubaneswar and went to meet with him, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, and Gorgovinda Maharaj said, "I remember first seeing you when you were putting our Prabhupada into Samadhi, and at that time I was very shy to approach you. But now I'm very glad to see you, and I hope that all my disciples will be able to take shelter from you at some point." I believe something like along those lines. But also, like Bhishma, as we were talking earlier, I don't know if I said this, he had the boon, Srila Gorgovinda Maharaj had the boon to leave his body at any given time, which is something extremely rare, like a perfected yogi. So Srila Prabhupada asked him to never leave the institution of ISKCON, and he gave that his word to Srila Prabhupada. So when it came to the point where either he felt that he would either have to leave the institution of ISKCON or preach Apasiddhanta, he chose the third option, which was to leave his body. And he had met with his cousin, I believe, who was about 10 years older in Bhubaneswar, and he said, I will not be here for the installation of the new big deities. This was, I believe, in 1995 or 1996, but you will see them. And his cousin was very confused, but you're 10 years younger than me. This is impossible. What do you mean? He's like, oh no, you will see them, but I won't, something like that. And then shortly after in Mayapur, after speaking on the deepest top of Vipralamba, the love and separation of Radha and Krishna, he asked for a picture of Gopal and immediately departed from his body, and his disciples were scrambling, running around looking for the car keys to take him to the hospital. But in fact, he just left his body of his own will with tears in his eyes, speaking of Radha and Krishna. So that was the end of his life, but his glories continued. And in my personal experience, having met his direct disciples and people who were initiated in ISKCON and took shelter of him in Bhubaneswar and went on padayatras at his direction, they all have very good Vaishnava etiquette, which they learned from him and are very loving and affectionate and also very knowledgeable as well. So that's my personal experience. Yeah, it's quite interesting in his lectures, which are many hours of them on the internet.
So many videos. If you want to know exactly what he was speaking about, if you go to the third history in Srila Gurudev's Origin of Rath Yatra, which is the history where Krishna was feeling separation from Radharani and the gopis, and then they put him on a chariot, 3 chariots, one that Balaram was on, one that Subhadra was on, one that Krishna was on, and they came to, I don't want to tell you all the details, it's late, but you can read it in the Origin of Rath Yatra. It's about how Radharani was just about to leave her body, and there was hardly any breath by the cotton swab, and she said, okay, I'm going to be leaving my body now, and when I do, wrap my arms around the tamal tree, and then the fire in my body, the fire of digestion, will merge with the sun that will come on Krishna in Nandagaon and give him a nice sunny atmosphere. And the air of my body will merge with the air that will give Krishna a nice breath. In other words, she's still in the service mood up till the very last in her separation. And just then, Krishna came. And when Krishna and Radharani's eyes met, they became 4 eyes. And then Krishna became like Lord Jagannath and began to roll on the ground. And Baladev and Subhadra also took those forms. And then, then they met, and then Radharani came back to life. It's very interesting. And Gaura Govinda Maharaj was saying even Chandravali came and apologized and said, now I realize who you are. Of course, you can forget just as easily. So, yeah, you can read that there. Okay. And so tomorrow we'll talk about Bhakti Buddhadev, Shroti Maharaj, because I think other subjects are completed. All right, Gaur Premanandi Hari Panchakalpacharibhyascha Kripasinubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo. I just want to say one thing about suffering. That's why I asked Atul Prabhu, What'd you say about suffering? Because yesterday I was hearing Gurudev talking about suffering. And he said the exact same thing that Prabhupada said, which is that one of the 26 qualifications of a devotee is compassionate. So he directed that passion towards God brothers and God sisters. So he said if any devotee is suffering, whether it's mental or physical, you have to stop and take the time to help them. And if you don't, that's going to be an offense. And Prabhupada said the same thing. And when Gurudev was having one festival in some country like Italy, it was Italy, and some devotee got sick, and one of the sannyasis took him to the hospital and then came back. And he said, where is this devotee? Oh, I took him to the hospital. And you didn't stay with him? No, I just dropped him off. And Gurudev was angry. So he, Again? Vasanti is saying that Gurudev said at that time, a devotee should never go to the hospital alone. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Nitai Gauda Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gauda Hari Bo. Nitai Gauda Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Go Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo. Okay, now the day happens.
Are we starting our Ishtagoshi thing? She wants to do like Ishtagoshi.
What's everybody doing